the big issue that we can see as fans, more so than, some of the things we can't see, like the suspensions and who is there, who is not there, and why. The big issue that Baylor fans have been able to see over the last few years is the fact that they never seem like they're ready to start the game, especially at home. It's like waking up like you and I on a Saturday morning. Waking up, shaking off the cobwebs a little bit, long week at work, take your time getting out of bed. Enjoy as much time as you can, just resting and maybe taking on the day when you feel like you're ready to. With the college football team in the Big 12, that's not how it should be. And yet it seems like that every time these guys get to sleep in their own beds the night before a game, because at home, they never come out to strong starts. It's been this way for a couple years now. It's been this way since the 2021 Sugar Bowl year. That's not even a stretch. In fact, I saw a really good tweet from Michael Haig, who covers this team extensively now, doing it through the Waco Trib and some with the Dallas Morning News as well. Michael does a good job on this beat, and he put out some good research in this tweet. Baylor has consistently dug itself into early holes since the start of 2022, because since the start of the 22 season, they have been outscored by 108 points in the first half versus FBS teams. 108-point differential. Wow. And at home, they have been outscored 218 to 141 in the first half, all told, since the 2022 seasons, FBS and FCS. And at home, since the Kansas State game on November 12th, 2022, one that they lost 31-3, it was a massacre, they have been outscored 192 to 89 in the first half. Woof, man. That stinks. To go further into that, by the way, let me preface it like this. At home, against Power 4 opponents, they have not led at halftime since the Utah game in week 2 of last year. And that's the only time they have led at home at halftime against a Power 4 opponent since October of 2022. 23 months. And they've had one halftime lead against a Power 4 team at home. That's not asking a ton. If you are a Power 4 team, you can defend your home field and at least lead at halftime. They never do. They dig themselves a hole that, as we've seen in the last 2 years, they very rarely get themselves out of. Very rarely. And it happened again on Saturday. 21-0 like that in the first quarter. BYU scores touchdowns on their first 4 drives. Not just scores. They score touchdowns on their first 4 drives. And maybe more importantly, every time Baylor scored, BYU responded with points until under 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. If you're not going to give yourself a chance until the last 10 minutes of the fourth quarter against a ranked team, you're not going to win many games. And that's where Baylor football's at right now. They don't win many games. And so I hear about how this team is different and that this is going to be not a 3-9 team, and that the players are different, and yet we don't see it ever. Dave Aranda, why can't your team start fast at home?
I don't think last year really has too much to do with this year. I understand the record of last year. I think this is a very different team, and I think this circumstance for this game is very different than last year's circumstance. I think we do have to play better. I think when we rep something and we walk through something and we fit something up and we do all of those things, we're expected to make those plays in the game. And when we don't, we got to get someone else that can. And we're about at that spot prior to changing the defense completely, And so we've got to way improve in that. And I take responsibility for that.
At least he wasn't saying it was a great week of practice. In fact, he kind of said it was. We walk through things and we do it well. But if you can't do it on Saturday, you can't do it. Because that's where we all make our money, so to speak, literally and figuratively. This is how we keep our jobs. This is how we keep playing football. It's how we keep coaching football. We're judged on Saturdays. And Baylor consistently is not ready to play on Saturdays. And there's blame to go all the way around for that. And so, again, you heard it there. We hear that it's different from 2023. I like to believe that it's different from 2023 from some of the plays that I've seen out there, but it's the same thing that got you in 2023. 2 FBS opponents you have faced at home, and you have been a minus 14 this year. You were down 17 to BYU, and you needed a last-second field goal in the first half to go up 6-3 against Air Force in the first half. Air Force. If they were a halfway decent FBS team, which they're not right now, you probably would have been losing that game at halftime too. And we're talking about a complete disaster. If we weren't already talking about a complete disaster. There isn't a team in the country that deals with this kind of stuff as a Power 4 team that can't even defend their home turf for a half. That used to be the problem with Dave Aranda's teams. They didn't win on the road. They were good at home. The problem used to be the road thing. Oh, they'll win their home games, but if you want to be a truly good team, you got to win a couple games on the road. I would take that issue right now. But once again, Baylor cannot win at McLean Stadium. And you heard it last year. You remember that Aranda quote of like, we gotta get our guys in like a road game mindset to play at home. For a guy who like really focuses and hones in on the mindset, there seems to be something wrong with the mindset every month, every week. Every time he takes the podium, there's something different with the mindset. Last year was they didn't have the mindset to play at home. This year, it was the mindset of the Utah game that they put too much pressure on themselves. Now it's the mindset of we've got to defend our home turf and we got to start fast, and it's still not happening. None of it's happening. So it's just we are way past the talk is cheap part of this. We went through the whole last year in the talk is cheap phase, and it continues into 2024. So, of course, Baylor fans, we're sick of it. We're sick of it. Seeing this team just get hit in the mouth every time they take the field at home. That a team comes in from wherever around the country and can just impose their will through at least the first quarter. Baylor struggles to play 4 quarters anywhere, but to barely play like 2.5 quarters of real football at home, week after week, month after month, and now season after season. Something has to change. Something. And it's everyone's fault. You know, there are plenty of things that I say, oh, that's on the coaches, can't blame the players. And some things where I say, that's a player mistake. This is all the way around. This is the buzzword, a culture thing. Yes, that's part of your culture if you can't win at home and can never start well at home, ever. That is a deep lying issue with everyone involved with the program. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. We really appreciate that. And if you want to keep up to date on all the Baylor sports news, be sure to give us a like and ring the notification bell, because we are your first listen today and every day. We are your exclusive home for nothing but Baylor sports content 5 days a week that's not coming straight from the university. Be sure to follow us here on YouTube and also wherever you get your podcasts, and on Twitter as well at Locked On Baylor. Thanks so much again. Have a good one. And sick 'em.